Okay, okay. Deepika, just reach out to me. Reach out to me. I'll help you. Ankit, when do you think that government will allow? Don't you think? I don't think so. We are going to expect the offline classes this year because Delhi the COVID cases are very too high. Hmm. So I don't think so. We are okay. Physical classes, I don't see any chance, and we can't take a risk also, even if government allows. Okay, Devashish, let's speak on. You can just fix the timing and we'll speak. Okay, so welcome all of you in today's class. Let's start in the weekly current affairs. So there are some important topics. The first is GST issue. So again, GST issue has come up. So let's discuss what the GST issue is quickly. The center state. Second is agriculture reform bills. Recently, three bills have been are there, and the ordinances were passed few months ago during the COVID lockdown period. And the three reform bills, the two of them have been passed by the both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So we'll understand what exactly that bill is. Bill का मतलब होता है proposed legislation. जो law बनाना होता है, bill is a proposed legislation. So what those issues are, I'll discuss the issues also in agriculture and how those bills will be effective. So second is the agricultural reform bills. Please close your cameras, guys. Then we have power problems and potential of federalism. So there are certain issues, related to federalism that we can discuss. Then MP LAD scheme bhi news mein hai. So what is MP LAD scheme? We'll discuss that. Rethinking the tenure of constitutional departmental committees. Again, important polity topic. I'll discuss that today. Then our larger China picture again. It was in news. Indus Water Treaty turned 60. Then there's some important news like India must reject inequitable climate proposal. And then there's some small news which you can read yourself as well, but I'll try to cover them. Solar cycle 25. Okay, so all these topics are there. So let's understand and start with GST. Now, what is GST and why the problem is going on? Remember, India is a big country and we have how many states? We have 28 states right now. 28 states and 8 union territories, right? And among these union territories, there are two union territories, Delhi and Puducherry. So they have power to put their own taxes. So 28 states plus 2 Puducherry plus union government. So how many authorities we have which can put tax on the goods and services? जो भी आपका economy या business में होता है, there are bodies which can put taxes. So we have, we have central government, we have state government, which can impose taxes, and Delhi and Puducherry also. So 28 plus 2, 30 plus 31. So there are 31 tax jurisdictions. That means ये 31 हर state में अलग-अलग tax लग सकता है. Now that was very complex. This was very complex, and it said that, and I'm talking about indirect tax. Because जो direct taxes हैं, they are mostly by union government. Indirect tax जो है GST goods and services is an indirect tax. So indirect tax is a tax where the burden lies on the consumer, but the liability to pay the tax, यानी burden आप ही पड़ेगा, but जो pay करना वो आपको नहीं pay करना होगा. The payment will be made by the seller. For example, when you purchase item, आपको एक सामान खरीदते हो, so when you purchase that item, the bill which you have, the tax उसमें लिखा हुआ है, but the you will not pay the tax. You will just pay the amount to the the person from whom you're purchasing. The government, the seller, the wholesaler या जो भी सामान आपको दे रहा है, that person will pay to the government of India. So that is called indirect tax. So we have indirect tax called. So this complexity was happening in India, which means we have 31 tax board, every state different tax. So government of India said that why don't we merge most of these tax? So 17 taxes which are taken by the state government and central government, they all were merged, and GST goods and service tax came in 2017, which means one India, one union, one tax. The idea of GST was that it will bring uniformity in tax. पूरे इंडिया में एक ही टैक्स होगा, and it will create a mechanism where the tax system will be easier and the business will get benefit. So that was the objective. But GST had some problem. The 17 taxes, most of the taxes were from state government, and there were some taxes from central government. When the whole tax were merged, the सारे taxes merge हो गए, then problem what happened? The state government cannot impose those taxes. That means they have to depend on GST. उनका जो power of increasing tax rate, yes, वो सब खत्म हो गया. So states surrendered their power to change the tax rates and all. So they were very little unhappy in the beginning. So government of India said, don't worry, you be a part of GST, and every year we will give you 14% increase in the tax revenue. Every year जो भी आपका टैक्स होगा उसको 14% ऐड करके हम जो एस्टिमेटेड टैक्स, जैसे मान लो अभी आपको 100 रुपीज मिल रहा है, so next year 114 मिलेगा in the GST regime. So that was the this thing, and that is how state came on board. And it said that if there is a confusion between center and state, so एक body होगा GST council that will resolve the issues of how the tax can be imposed in India. So it is a joint forum of center and state, okay, and the finance minister head the GST council. इस GST council में 1/3 power is of central government, 1/3 union government का power होता है, and 2/3 power is of the state government. Okay, so that is how it is. Now the problem here is that if the tax has to be changed or tax rates have to be changed, three-fourths of the voting is required. यानी जितने भी लोग हैं 3/4 should agree, then only tax rates will be changed. So GST council became an arrangement so that if there are disagreement, it can be resolved. Now problem started when Preeti, it's a constitutional body. It's not a statutory body. Article 279A. Okay, so GST council was created, and GST council will solve or resolve the issues of taxes. Now what happened that in the beginning also the expectation जो tax revenue आने वाला था वो कम होने लगा, and that created a problem. But again it was mostly resolved. The problem started during the COVID-19. हुआ क्या? Tax collection has come down drastically, and hence whatever the promise was made by central government to the state government that we will pay you taxes 14% extra every year, that kind of became difficult. वो मुश्किल हो गया, and that is where the problem has happened. Because अभी क्या होता है, GST में जो tax आता है, some tax are collected by central government and they are given to the state government. But अभी COVID-19 में the problem again started because business is down, the business are down, the economy is down, and hence revenue collection has impacted. Today the news was that in European countries they are kind of planning second lockdown. Countries like Spain, countries like Sweden, they're introducing second lockdown, and the reason is that the COVID cases are increasing at a very rapid pace. अभी देखो दिल्ली में भी कैसे COVID case बीच में कम हुआ, again it can come. So these are the problems. So there are a lot of uncertainty in the business. Can the economy be on normal? Economy normal होगा तो cases बढ़ेंगे, तो again government will have to take strict action. So these are the problems which are happening across India, and the business are getting impacted. So these are the problems, and hence the commitment made by the central government to the state government is getting difficult. तो सबसे बड़ा जो problem हो रहा था वो tax revenue में हो रहा था. So states were complaining that we are not getting taxes, and if you not get the tax revenue, how will we do development and welfare work? और इस COVID-19 period में the health budget has increased drastically. Health budget बहुत तेजी से बढ़ गया है. So these are the problems which the countries, the states are facing. So let's understand. So GST had brought the states on board by promising high revenue collection. The states were lured by the promise of 14% annual growth rate in the GST over the base year of 15-16. Any shortfall from this for 5 years will be compensated. मतलब अगर 14% से कम revenue collection हुआ, so we will give you, will compensate you. और वो compensation कहाँ से लाएंगे? हम एक सेस लगाएंगे. सेस क्या होता है? टैक्स ऑन टैक्स. जैसे मान लो 100 रुपीज टैक्स आया और इस पे कह दिया आपने 5% सेस लगाएंगे. So 5% means 5 rupees. तो total tax collection होगा 105 rupees. But ये जो 5 rupees वाला है, this cess, which is nothing but tax on tax, this will be used to compensate the state. इसको हम use करेंगे state को compensate करने के लिए. And this cess will be sorry, on luxury goods. Luxury goods पे हम cess charge करेंगे. For example, cigarettes, car, okay. So, but tax on ये cess से जो revenue हुआ, it was not as expected. और फिर क्या होने लगा, जो भी shortfall revenue का था, वो state को जो मिलना चाहिए था, वो नहीं मिल पा रहा था. So the problem was already there, but the problem increased during COVID-19, where the state government complained to the central government that the promises that you made to ensure that हमारा tax collection कम ना हो, that you're not able to fulfill. So, and especially in COVID-19, we are under huge pressure. So why don't you give us money? Why don't you give us money? So the transfers due since April have been withheld. In the last GST Council meeting, the center gave states 2 options. तो जब revenue नहीं आने लगा and states started complaining that give us more revenue, so government of India gave 2 options. The first, they said, you borrow 97,000 जो भी GST में shortfall है from RBI at a low rate of interest. That is the first option. That you borrow 97,000 जो भी shortfall revenue में होगा. The second is you borrow 2.3 lakh crore total compensation, यानी जो total आपका कम आ रहा है, एक तो आपका होगा annual जो आपको loss हो रहा है, और जो total आपको loss हो रहा है apart from all sources 2.35 lakh crore, this you borrow from the market, RBI आपको help करेगा borrow करने में. Now remember, what does it mean? It means that the state government can borrow, but if they borrow, borrowing will come at an interest, which means ये जो पैसा है, this is nothing but a debt. So the state will have to pay these money. State will have to pay this money tomorrow with interest. And where will this money come from? Government of India says, don't worry. The cess collection in future will be helped in paying this money. But there is a problem. The state government says, you are moving from your commitment. The commitment जो आपने किया था, that whatever revenue shortfall we'll have, you will pay that money. So the revenue collection that we expected is less, the first thing. The second is, now you're saying you borrow from the market and that too on debt. So this is not good. And hence we do not accept this. So a problem, there's a kind of a deadlock has been created in central government. The burden of repayment would be borne by future collections from the compensation cess. It was proposed that this cess, which was supposed to end 2022, ये cess का जो 5-year का period था, which means on 17 the GST came and cess will apply till 2022. So they said that this will not end in June 2022, but it will end the future also, so that the repayment of debt can be made, ताकि आपका payment का repayment हो जाए. But states are saying that this is not right. You give us from some, आप borrow करो और आप हमें दे दो. Why should we borrow? Why should we have the burden of money? So we will not borrow. So this is the problem that is faced by the this thing. Given the uncertainty, how accuracy the estimate of 97,000 2.35 lakh crore offered by the state is questionable. Then the Ministry of Finance refusing to give a figure for growth of 2021, how much estimates arrived at gains significance. कुछ लोग का ये कहना है कि number कहाँ से आया? This is also a question mark, because we are living in an uncertain time, and when the uncertain times are there, the revenue of business, whatever money that might come from revenue in business, again that is something that we don't know. So these are problems, and hence the central government should take a lead, and it should try to resolve the issue. Now, why is central government? There are multiple reasons. The first is central government has power to raise money from market, to raise money from foreign sources, and when they raise money, they can bargain and get loan at cheap interest rate. But if state will have to borrow, it will have to go to the central government, and the money will be routed via central government, which means the states will have to borrow at higher interest rate. ये पहला option है. The second option is that the central government has note printing power, that is money printing power. So central government can print money, extra money, the required money, and it can ask the RBI to print extra money, and this money can be used in the economy. But this has a long-term problem. But if you try to see these options, only central government has more power. The state government are saying that, see, you are more power, you are more equipped. Constitutionally, you are more power, you have more power to collect tax revenue, you have more power to raise loans, and hence the burden you are putting on us is not right. So this is a crisis period, and try to understand the India's federal structure. In our India structure, federal structure means there is a central government and there is state government. जो भी हमारा फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है, इसमें एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है दैट हियर द एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ welfare, mostly welfare schemes or all these things, they are mostly borne by the state government. The central government funds them, central government gives loans, central government gives grants. So the state government are saying that, see, we are the people who are facing the brunt. I'll take an example of health. Abhi health is a state subject. What does it mean by state subject? Which means only state government can make law. So, but it is a crisis. Try and understand. Some states are doing well, some states are doing very bad. The so-called good state like Kerala, which did big good in the beginning, now it is lagging behind. So-called state like Gujarat, which was doing bad in the beginning, now it is doing better. So-called state like Karnataka, which was doing good in the beginning in COVID fight, now it is lagging. State के पास अगर central government को ज़्यादा power होता, because in health area the central government has less power, it is the state government which has the most power. Okay, so these are the problems which are faced, and hence people are saying that, or people who are supporting the state, they are saying the center should take a lead. Now let's try and understand what problems we might face as per the predictions. Union budget was passed in 1st February. उनका ये कहना था that economy will grow by 10%, and the center का जो budget allocation होगा, that will also grow by that will also grow. That means 10%. Now economy was 100, so it will grow by 10%, which means economy will be 110 tomorrow. But because of the COVID-19, we are expecting that we'll have minus 10% growth. हमारा जो इंडिया का growth होगा वो minus 10% होगा, and this is for the first time in last 41 years. For the first time in last 41 years, India is going to witness negative economic growth, and this negative economic growth is because of the COVID-19. This is the first time. In fact, I've been reading and studying economics from past 12-13 years, and I've just read in the books. मैंने books में पढ़ा है कि ऐसा होता है, ऐसा हुआ है, ऐसा हो सकता है. And today what we are seeing, we are witnessing a situation where India is going through this extreme crisis, and this is something that I've only read in books. Okay, so we are expecting that India का जो budget होगा, it will be in minus, which means right now, let's say it was 3 trillion economy, and we were expecting to grow by 10%, which means in 2021 it would have been 3.3 trillion economy, but minus 10% GDP, which means tomorrow at the end of the year India will be 2.7 trillion economy, which means if you compare we'll be 20% negative from what was the prediction. From 3.3 might come down to 0.7 trillion. So the central budgetary calculation will be off by at least 20%. Revenue will fall much more by 20%. Tax collection will be short more than 20%. The tax to GDP ratio will also come down. Okay, so these are problems. Government will not be able. Now remember, it is a crisis. It is an epidemic. Now government, you can't blame the government. If somebody's business failed in this period, you can't blame the government. You can't blame the system. You can't blame yourself as well, because you can't do anything. Okay, so thus an optimistic guess, if the economy declines by only 10%, total tax collection will be down by 12 lakh crore. इतना हमारा revenue collection कम आएगा, and this 12 lakh crore is also shared by the state government. Central government का जो भी revenue आता है, it is shared by the state government as well. So what will be the calculation? How things are there? It is a very challenging thing. And today even government, no, the problem is that current government is using this as an opportunity. Current government is saying that I will not borrow much, but I would rather open the economy. I'll rather free the economy. I'll rather make the rules simple, and I will maybe pump, maybe pump some money, little money, but not more. I will try to create a mechanism where business, becomes more easier. I will try to ensure that investment, comes from outside, because they see India as a country where investment can be made. So central government is doing a lot of reforms, and these reforms are in agriculture sector, infrastructure sector, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, because even government of India does not have money, and these are the problems that we might face. So these reforms, government thinks that this is a phase of challenges. So why don't we bring reform? हम reform लेके आते हैं, and through this reform, in this whole crisis, there's opportunity also. So let's bring reform, and those reforms will change the dynamics of the economy. Okay, so we don't know how things will move in the coming years, but definitely, government is going with a big bang reform. And if you remember, Mr. Narendra Modi, when he gave the scheme, when he talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat a few months ago, he said that we will not go in, we will take a quantum leap. We will take a quantum leap in reform, and reform has slowed down, and we have to push the reform at a very fast pace. So as many predictions, the economy will down by 10% using the calculation above, and revenue shortfall will be greater. This points to the dire position of central and the state and inevitability of large borrowing program. Any government of India will have to borrow a lot of money, and central government has more power to borrow money. But the problem is here that central government, will not be in a situation to take money, because central government itself is facing the problem. Okay, clear here up till here? Up till here, things are clear, guys. This GST issue is clear. Okay, so let's move in the. Good. So let's move to the second topic. Now, the second topic is in news right now. Agriculture reform bills introduced in the parliament. But before this bill, I'll tell you a story. Okay, so I will tell you a story, and that story will just listen to me in the story. So, how agriculture is done in India? Now, try to understand. In India, agriculture is mostly done by private people. Farmers are the private people who do the agriculture. In the period of 1950s, जब India independence हुआ, तो problem क्या था India में? That let's say I am a farmer, और मेरा जो produce है मुझे sell करना है. Now the problem here is that there was no system or mechanism where I can sell, because markets were not proper, regulated नहीं थे. Mostly Indian farmers were small, but there were some other people in rural areas, or maybe some people in the rural areas who were traders, the agricultural traders. They were the money lenders also. In some villages, and they were big people. Remember, they had money, they could lend money. So they said, give your whatever you produce, hame de do, and I will go and sell that in the market. Now these people who were traders, they became not only the traders, but they also became the money lenders. Now, mostly in India, people had less money, especially farmers. So they used to borrow money from the money lenders. Or the money lenders, traders bhi ban gaye. They took, let's say, from farmer at 100 rupees, but they sold in the market at 150 or 170 or 200 rupees. These people became middlemen. And these middlemen used to exploit. Now, farmer used to be small. For farmer chota hai, uska produce kam hai. Now, the problem here is that these traders, they used to contact with 20 farmers or 30 farmers. So they will collect from all the farmers and sell to the market. They have their own linkage, their own system, a whole network. और वो market urban area में या जहां भी वो बेचते थे, and they used to get good profit. You'll be surprised to know that in the whole process of middlemen, they used to earn maybe 2 to 3 times than what a farmer was earning. यानी farmer पूरा मेहनत कर रहा है, farmer was not able to earn, and most of these people were able to take the benefits. Now, then government of India, the government of India was thinking that what should be done. So in order to resolve that, they came with the concept of APMC law. And these APMC law were called Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee Act, APMC Act. So Government of India made the law and it said to the state government that based on this APMC law, आप अपना अपना state में law बनाओ. Why? Because agriculture is a state subject. What is the meaning of state subject? In the areas of agriculture, only state government can make law, central government cannot make law. But central government can make a macro law, एक model law बनाएंगे, and it will give it to the state government, and they will say based on this law, इस law के base पर you create your own law, अपना law create करो. And that is how the APMC law came into picture. Every state government in India, I'm talking about 50s and 60s, सारे state government ने अपना अपना APMC law बनाया, and under that APMC law, the state will create mandis. वो mandis create करेंगे, and these mandis will be run under or run through the APMC law. Now, how this mandi will operate? Now, you must have seen the mandi in your village. आपने अपने city में, town में, you must have seen. Mostly the mandis are 5-6 kilometers outside the town, cities. Or in some big cities, there are multiple mandis. There are 3-4 mandis are there. For example, in Delhi, there is Azadpur Mandi. It is called the biggest mandi of Asia. Okay, so mandis were created, and these mandis were created, and they were supposed to be regulated by APMC law. What the mandi system said that now farmer, if the farmer want to sell, they just have to go to the mandi and sell their item in the mandi. Mandi में अपना सामान बेच देंगे. They don't have to go anywhere. They just have to go to the nearest mandi or designated mandi. जैसे मैं जिस एरिया में रहता हूं तो उस एरिया का एक मंडी होगा. I can go and sell in that mandi. But remember, I can go and sell in that mandi only. I cannot go and sell in other mandi. मैं 100 किलोमीटर दूर मंडी में सेल नहीं कर सकता हूं. I can have to go and sell in the mandi which is my area mandi. So that forced farmers to, rather than selling to the traders, they can go to the mandi and I can sell the item. Now mandi में government ने कहा कि we will also create a lot of facilities. For example, there will be sorting facility, there will be quality check facility, there will be weighing facility, machines लगी होंगी बड़ी बड़ी, you can weigh. There will be cold storage also. Okay, so all the facilities are be given to the farmers, and mandi will be huge. It will have all the basic facilities which are required. Now farmer can go, can sort, can weigh, quality and all, and in all the process they will take some mandi fees. आपको कुछ मंडी फीस देना पड़ेगा. Now, listen the whole story, Ankit, then I'll come to your doubt. Now, the idea of mandi was that mandi should replace the middleman, and the farmer can go and sell in the designated mandi. The mandi will become a place where both buyer and seller will reach there. Buyer and the seller will go there. So I'm a farmer, I'm a seller, and some trader or wholesaler or maybe some company person, they can be buyer. Now both of us will go there and they will be bidding. Bidding hoga. Open bidding. In this open bidding, the competitive mechanism, open bidding mein competitive hoga, and whosoever will give the best price. Okay, in the bidding, whosoever will give the best price, and the deal will be sealed. Okay, that is how. So which means the farmer can sell to the mandi, and in mandi there will be a transparent process. Jहाँ open bidding hoga, competitive bidding hoga. Let's say you said 1,000 rupees, I say no 1,100, 1,200, and okay 1,100 पे price fix हो गया. That is the best price you can give, and that's the best price I agree to, and the selling will happen. So that was the mechanism. Mandi should become a place where there should be a transparent mechanism of selling. Okay, so ये माना गया कि mandi, once the mandi system gets developed, the farmers will be able to get the advantage. Farmers will be able to get the advantage, and farmer will be able to sell their items very easily, and they will get the right price. इस पूरा objective था that the farmer should get the right price. But problems start happening. In order to facilitate all this, government said that there will be certain people who will be called traders, and they will be given license. And these traders will sit in the mandi, और उनको हम एक area allot कर देंगे. Okay, so I will give you a license, and these traders will facilitate the whole process. ये competitive bidding का जो पूरा process है, they will facilitate. So that means only the licensed people who have traders license can facilitate the trading in the mandi, and that is how things will go. Then what happened, slowly ये जो big farmers थे, big farmers and the big traders of village, they had money, so they took the advantage, and they all were able to get the license of the trader. वो सारे, they all got the license of traders, and they were able to control things. Now they started controlling. Then the bureaucrats also came into picture. All the local bureaucrat, the small bureaucrat, all the district netas, the politicians, they started having a say in the mandi, and they started getting the advantage of all this. Okay, they started having having a say, and so these people, they kind of maintained अपना monopoly बना लिया मंडी में. They got the trader license, and the bureaucrats, the politician, it became a nexus, and they practically controlled the mandis, which means they will allow how the mandi will operate. Whatever rules you already mentioned here, those rules are not operating. Rather, mandi rules are put aside, and these people will decide how the trading will happen. इस process में क्या हुआ? The farmer. Now let's say I'm a farmer, and I have, let's say 10 quintal of rice, and I go to the market and sell it. But here these mandis became the middleman, the new middleman. And these middlemen, they will try to maximize their income. So उन्होंने farmer, and they said now this open competitive bidding is only on paper. It is not going to happen on ground. Let's say I'm a farmer, I go and I expect a price of 1500 per quintal. I go and I take, मैंने बैलगाड़ी लिया, and my बैलगाड़ी I put the entire 10 quintal rice and reach at the mandi. But moment I try to access this mandi, only middleman, I can only reach out to the middleman. Now middleman will say to me, okay, what is the price you're expecting? I would say 1500. Say no, market बहुत खराब है, sale is down, blah blah blah, demand is not there. Okay, I'll give you 1100. Now you'll say, अरे 1100 is too less. How will I will be able to do my business? इसमें तो मेरा cost भी नहीं निकलेगा. No. Okay, 1150 final. Now then this second person, the seller, buyer comes in. Okay, the wholesale buyer comes in. This wholesale buyer, again the mandi people will say to him, and this see market rate is 1700. अरे ज़्यादा है. Okay, चलो 1650. Done. Now the farmer is selling the item at 1150, and the buyer is getting that 1650, and this middleman is getting 500 per the purchase of quintal, and the middleman has ensured that buyer and seller do not meet. In the entire process, there is one more thing happening. I am selling through the mandi. I'm a farmer. I'm selling through the mandi, and मुझे मंडी का फीस भी देना पड़ेगा. I have to give commission to the middleman. Middleman को, there is a very common word in Hindi that is used. It is called adatiya. Okay, so this middleman, and these adatiyas became so rich. In fact, they were able to get the maximum out of that, and this whole became very common system in India. And that was, that was supposed to be displaced, but it became a nexus right from bottom to top. Now the politicians are also involved. Sabka commission fit hai, everybody is getting money here. These middlemen are ensuring that bureaucrats are getting money. These middlemen are ensuring the politicians are getting money. Sabka share defined hai, and hence, and remember, it is a state subject. State subject means the state government will make a law. So it was criticized by many governments. And then what happened? In 2003, ये पूरा story सुन लो, then you again ask. Government of India, the Vajpayee government, they came with a model APMC law, and they say that you change the current law and ensure that monopoly of mandi, that is APMC laws, are removed. And they said, let's have multiple mandis. Let's have multiple mandis. And it's said to state government that aap ye karo. But very few state government adopted that, and many states the old mandi system are happening. Now try and understand what is happening in Punjab, Haryana. Now Punjab and Haryana are the agriculture producing. They are one of the highest as per the population, they are very good agriculture producing state, and the mandi system is rampant here. Mandi system is rampant here, and there are farmers, there are big farmers who are also the part of the mandis. There are middlemen who are also part of the mandis. They are probably 5 to 8% people, and 90% of the farmer they are selling to these people at a price which is not good, and it is called distress sell. आप कम price पे बेच रहे हो, you have been exploited. But that is the whole nexus which is currently operating. Okay, so this exploitation is already there. तो अब क्या हो रहा है, ये मॉडल एपीएमसी लॉ ने कहा कि आप मल्टीपल मंडी कर दो, एक मंडी मत रखो. यू हैव 1 2 3 4 5 n number of mandi. I can sell in any mandi, which means the monopoly, which means there will be competition among all the mandis. और ये जो मोनोपोली ऑफ मंडी वो खत्म हो जाएगा. few states adopted, for example, Rayathu Bazaar of Andhra Pradesh, there's one more in, there are कई states का model, के laws came, and they were able to reform the mandi system. But the problem still remained. Majorly the problem still remained, and the monopoly of mandi more or less was there. Now Modi government wanted to ensure that this mandi should be replaced. Even BJP said that in their political manifesto कि will remove the mandi. Even Congress said the same thing. हम mandi system को dismantle कर देंगे, because this mandi system is allowing monopoly of mandi, and the earlier exploitation was done by trader. Now mandi has become the exploitation center, and mandi is controlled by middlemen, and they are taking the calling the shot, and that is not right. So this is what. So Government of India passed a new law, a new ordinance, which is now law, and that law says that farmer produce trade and commerce, which replace the APMC, and anybody can be a trader, which means a trader ka license, that license will concept not there, and any place in India will become a trade center. Earlier only the mandi was a trade center. आज क्या है, कहीं भी, for example, cold storage से निकला, that can become a trade center. I am a farmer. I took out my item from cold storage. I don't have to go to the mandi. I can sell directly. From the cold storage to the concerned person. मैंने उसको call किया, contact किया through the networking or through internet. There are mechanism, and that person knows this price is there, and that person will come, or I will rather put it on the truck and maybe pay. I don't have to go via mandi. अभी के लिए mechanism क्या था, that even if person P1 is selling to P2, it has to go via mandi, which means you have to get registered in a mandi, and this mandi is under APMC law. So you have to register in a mandi. आपको mandi fees देना ही देना है, even though that mandi is not doing anything for you. But since it is a registered trading which is happening, because people who are doing trading, they have to be registered. मैं एक wholesaler हूँ, तो मेरा एक wholesale का license है. I'm a farmer, so I'm selling. So if I'm a farmer, I'm selling. So automatically I have to inform to the government, okay, that I'm selling. So मेरा agricultural income यहाँ से आ रहा है. That proof I need to have. So I will have to tell the mandi, and I have to pay the fees of also mandi, and that is how trading will happen. So this has led to a monopoly of mandi. Now the Modi government said that we will have to replace the mandi system. We will have to dismantle the system, and this is not demand of today. This demand I've been reading from past 2 decades. 2 decades से चल रहा है. And remember reforms, and now why the laws are not being changed. In some states they have brought new changes. Some states were able to do well, but majority of states in India, the monopoly of mandi is already there, and they kind of exploit the farmer. So it's like, if you are purchasing 100 rupee vegetable or fruit, let's say 100 rupees apple, so farmer is getting 25 rupees here, and the middlemen are getting 50 rupees here. The farmer who has done all the hard work is getting 25 rupees, and middleman is getting 50 rupees. So the idea is to replace this middleman, and replace this middleman by open system, and farmer should get from 25 to maybe 40 or 50. Okay, and this price from 100 should also come down to maybe 60 or 70 or 80. Okay, so that is the basic objective of this agriculture reform at first level. ये पहला law है. Okay, till here everything is clear to everybody. If you have any question, you can ask me. समझ में आया यहाँ तक? Everybody, ये exploitation जो farmers का हो रहा था through mandi system, that this bill or this law, is looking at removing the exploitation. Okay, so that is the basic objective. तो पहला तो law ये हो गया. Okay, so Prithvi has a question. So profit coming from agriculture, no. Clear हुआ, right, Prithvi? Yes, and this is the whole mandi system. I'll explain. जब agriculture marketing हम लोग पढ़ेंगे in agriculture topic, I'll be taking this in detail. But in the nutshell, this is the story. There's nothing more than that. So basically, what Modi government or what current central government is doing, they want to replace the whole mandi, and uh, they want to replace the whole mandi, and they want to replace the whole mandi, and they say that whole India can be mandi. I can sell anybody. There should be no tax. Now, problem here is that this law overrides the state government, which means a state government cannot say no. State government ka law applicable nahi hoga, and this law. So the state governments are complaining that you are passing or you are getting the in the areas of my, which ye mera agriculture is my area, my state subject, and I can make a law. But central government is putting authority on the state government that you have to replace your mandi system. Okay, so the idea is to reduce or replace the whole middleman and maybe ensure that farmer को जो है जो advantage मिलना चाहिए वो मिले. How this will turn out on ground, only time will tell. But the basic objective is that the mandi, the agriculture market right now is controlled, which was controlled. Now the agriculture market will be a free market like other markets. So when you try to do business, it's a free market. Similarly, agriculture market भी free market हो जाएगा. That is the basic objective. Clear हुआ? So that is, ये तो पहला law हो गया. Now coming to the second law. Now one more thing. What is the meaning of ordinance? So when this COVID-19 period started, Modi government said that we want to bring reforms, and agriculture reform is again an important area. Abhi agriculture reforms हमें लेके आना होगा. And in the agriculture reforms, one reform is to replace APMC law. The second reform would be to bring contract farming. And third, focus would be to remove Essential Commodities Act, because Essential Commodities Act is a law which controls the prices, production, everything. Prices and selling also. Selling, stocking. So these are three laws. So Government of India said that all these laws are controlling laws and we'll have to replace them. APMC law, I've already explained, which is covered in the first one, that is Farmer Produce Trade and Commerce. So whenever Parliament is not in session, जब Parliament session में नहीं होता है, so what can Government of India do? Now here government can bring a tool called ordinance. I cannot make a law, but I will make an ordinance, and this ordinance is as per Article 123 of the Constitution at the central government and Article 213 at the state government. So ordinance क्या होता है? That now Parliament is not sitting. Now who has the power to make laws? Parliament of India. But Parliament session नहीं चल रहा है. So what will happen? Now here President has the power to issue ordinance, and this ordinance is like a law or equal to law. But ordinance has a maximum period of 6 months. 6 months से ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकता है. And once the assembly or session, Parliament जब meet करेगा, so when the Parliament meet within 6 weeks में, the ordinance have to be made a law. Otherwise, this ordinance will lapse. So ordinance को law में convert करने के लिए, that Parliament, you have to pass the law in the Parliament of the ordinance area. So already government of BJP government or the Modi government or the NDA government or the central government, they already had passed the ordinance, and this was in I think May only. Okay, so when the Parliament has reconvened, they have made the law, which means this and this, both of them, they have become a law right now. They are not any ordinance. And how is law is made? That in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the bill क्या है? It is a proposed legislation, a proposed law. It is passed, and when it is passed in both the houses, then it becomes a law. Of course, President of India will also sign it. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, it gets passed, then President of India signs it, and then it becomes a law. So that is the ordinance. So this is the first one, trade and commerce, which is replacing the APMC law. The second is Government of India wants to promote contract farming. Now, what is contract farming? Try and understand. So contract farming में क्या होता है? Let's say I am a farmer and I want to sell my item to somebody, but there is always a risk. there is always a risk in the market. And what do I do if there is a risk? So one thing is that why don't I have a contract with somebody? So contract is like a, is a contract farming is a mechanism where I can have a contract with the दोनों buyer and seller एक contract कर लेंगे. The seller will be of course the farmer. The buyer can be maybe the food processing company. मान लो मैं tomato sauce बनाता हूँ. I'm a tomato sauce making company. Maggi. Okay. So I can have a contract with the seller of tomato farming जो वहाँ पे होता है, with a farmer or group of farmer, and in that contract I would say that you produce this quality of tomato for my for my plant or for my tomato sauce production, and they will have a contract and the price will be decided and at future date it will be executed. अब farmer को जो भी quality produce करना होगा वो buyer पहले बता देगा, that is already in contract. But the problem was that many a times, let's say मैंने contract किया that tomato will be available at 15 rupees per kg at contract price, जो हमारा price हुआ, but market में उस time 20 rupees मिल रहा है, 20 rupees में sell हो रहा है. तो ये farmer क्या करेगा? He breaks the contract और कहता है नहीं, I can't give it to you, I want to sell it to the market. Now this buyer becomes helpless because contract आपने breach कर दिया, आपने break कर दिया है. It could be other round as well. Instead of 15 rupees, it is 12 rupees in the market. Now buyer को फायदा हो रहा है, buyer कह रहा है, buyer ने seller को बोला है that आपसे 15 rupees per kg टोमेटो खरीदेंगे, but market में 12 rupees है. And क्यों 12 rupees हो गया? Because of overproduction. So I do not honor the contract, and I don't honor the contract, and I purchase from the market. So the contract farming is going to solve all that problem, and it would try to ensure that contract agreements are functional on ground, and the parties will have to agree. And there are certain problems also, legality है, उसमें complications है, वो सारा clear हो जाएगा. And this contract farming law, which is Farmers Empowerment Protection Agreement on the Price Assurance and Farm Service Ordinances. So this is about contract farming, which law is going to be passed. And this is how इसमें farmer को protection और empowerment ज़्यादा दिया गया है, because mostly the parties who used to breach the contract were the buyers. बड़ी-बड़ी कंपनियां breach कर देती थी. They do not used to honor. And remember, I'm a small farmer, and company is a big area. And being a small farmer, how do I fight big company like Maggi? Okay, so these are the problems, and hence the only way should be that you can't breach the contract, and that would be the objective of the entire process. So this is the agriculture reform bill. This will ensure the contract farming becomes there. And the third one is already passed in Lok Sabha, अभी राज्य सभा में पास नहीं हुआ है. Essential Commodity Act put control on the prices and selling and stocking. So ये सारा control भी हट जाएगा, which means agriculture will be a free market, and it will be good for the economy. That is what the farm experts are saying. But overall, the farmers should have advantage. That only time will tell. I cannot say, because ये जो middlemen है, they will create a new mechanism. But how the farmers are going to get the advantage, we have to again create a mechanism. Okay. So out of 3 ordinances, the following 2 have been passed: the Farmers Empowerment Protection Agreement on Price Assurance, and both of this. What is the cause of dissent? While farmers are protesting that all 3 ordinances, their objections are mostly against the provision of the first. They are concerned mainly about the secrets relating to trade area, trader, dispute resolution, and market fee in the first ordinance. जो problem है वो first law में ही है, पहले वाले में, APMC law को जो हटा रहा है. Okay, so this new law defines trade area. Trade area क्या है? कहीं भी हो सकता है trade area. Wherever collection happens, production happens, collection, aggregation, farm gate, यानी farm field पे हो सकता है, factory हो सकता है, warehouse हो सकता है, cold storage हो सकता है. Earlier, the mandis were the only trade area. पहले मंडी जो एरिया मंडी है वही trade area था. अब मंडी अभी पूरा इंडिया trade area हो गया. Okay, government says the creation of additional trade area outside the mandis will provide farmer with the freedom of choice to conduct trade in their produce. यानी farmer को freedom मिलेगा. Why should I go and sell only in the mandi? I can go and sell anywhere. Okay, so that is a trade area definition. And the second, of course, the trader. Trader पहले कौन था? जिनको license मिल रहा था, license from APMC. Now trader कौन होगा? Anybody can be a trader. It can be processor, exporter, wholesaler, miller, retailer. Anybody can trader. आपके पास PAN card है, and any trader with a PAN card can buy farmer produce in the trade area. अगर आपका सिर्फ PAN card है, you can purchase anything. Yes, Kiran, interstate trade can also happen. Okay. So protesters say this provision will confine APMC mandis to their physical boundaries and give a free hand to big corporate buyers. APMC mandi system has developed very well, and every mandi caters to 200-300 villages. But new ordinances has confined mandi to their physical boundary. उनका कहना है कि mandi system replace हो जाएगा, and the corporate people will get an advantage, and farmers will be at disadvantage. Okay, but that is not what government says. Government says कि mandi system will be dismantled. The second would be there will be no market fee. कोई fee नहीं लगेगा. Earlier mandi लेता था. For example, in Punjab, 8.5% मंडी फी लगता था, मार्केट फी 3%, रूरल डेवलपमेंट चार्ज 3%, अड़हतिया यानी कमीशन का भी 2.5% था. तो रिमूविंग द फी ऑन ट्रेड, द गवर्नमेंट इज इनडायरेक्टली इंसेंटिवाइजिंग द गुड कॉर्पोरेट्स, एंड ऐसा उनका कहना है. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को आप सरप्राइज जाओगे, हरियाणा और इन स्टेट्स में 1500 to 2000 करोड़ रुपीस रेवेन्यू आता था मंडी से. नाउ लेट्स से आई एम सेलिंग 1 lakh rupees of crop, but I have to pay 8.5%, which means I have to pay 1.08 lakh rupees. Now I don't have to pay this 8.5%, which because government ने इसको dismantle कर दिया है. So what government is saying that now farmers are going to get advantage. They don't have to pay the this thing. Okay. So clear everybody. This agriculture, the issue is clear to all of you. समझ में आया सभी लोगों को? Able to understand, I believe. Okay, good. So this is the whole story of the mandi system. Now, I'll take question then, guys. So Prithvi has a good question. Why Congress is opposing if they added this policy in the manifesto? Because Congress is in opposition, Prithvi. So when you are in opposition, you always oppose everything, because government will get the credit and Congress will have a bad future again. Already they have a bad future, but Congress, BJP will have another, we can say, a point in their, they will, that is the reason. So Kosi Rail Mahasetu, the PM has dedicated the historic Kosi Rail Mahasetu, and this is project which is 1.9 kilometer. आप देखो project has been sanctioned on 3-4 और अभी बन के तैयार हुआ है, and this is on the Kosi River. Kosi River is a very famous river of Bihar, and it basically comes from Tibet, then crosses Nepal and then India. It is also called Sorrow of Bihar. Okay, because Kosi में क्या है? Kosi changes its course. Kosi River changes its course regularly, and it causes flood almost every year. And why it changes the course? Because इसका जो depth है is shallow. Shallow means depth कम है, and Kosi brings a lot of silt and deposit debris when it flows. So when it brings debris, it get confined in the main river, and the river changes its course. So that is where it is very important that you create a mechanism where Kosi should not disturb the. So this Kosi Rail Mahasetu is an example where government is committed to ensure that we are able to understand or withstand the problems of Kosi, and it should not affect the development. So that is the concept of Kosi River. Again, a new problem of federalism. Now, a very good article was there, the power of federalism. Okay. So power, problems, and potential of federalism. What is federalism? Federalism is a process where central and the state government, they together run efficiently. Okay. Central government can make law in the union list. So हमारे constitution में there is a schedule, and it is called 7th schedule. And as per 7th schedule, the central state government can make laws in their respective list. So there are 3 lists: union list, there is a state list, and there is a concurrent list. Union list has 100 items, which means state list has 61 items, and concurrent has 52 items. Now remember, if a central government has to make law, it will make law here. If the state government has to make law, it will make law here. If the both have to make law, they will make law here. Concurrent list. Problem kahan aata hai? That in the current scheme of things, many people are feeling, or many constitutional experts or people who write about these list and understand or the power structure, they feel that the government of India should have more power. That means central government should have more power. Okay, and they say that they have to re-examine the whole list. इसको list को re-examine करना चाहिए, because some list have to be changed. Some list and they mainly want to update the state list. State list को change करना चाहते हैं. So let's understand the problem here is that now central and state government, they both have a dual role in development. ठीक है, दोनों का dual role है. कल को आप IAS बनोगे, IAPS बनोगे, so you'll be part of the development process. Okay, so you'll be a part of the development process, and in that development process you will execute government scheme. आप ground पे government schemes को execute करोगे, remember. So when you will execute the government scheme, you will have certain challenges. And the challenge is that who will pay for the money? Who will pay for the government scheme? And there comes the concept of that central government will have two ways. There will be central sector scheme and there will be centrally sponsored schemes. Central sector scheme will be the areas where 100% will be funded by the central government, and it will be mainly the areas of union list. Union list wala area hoga ye, mostly. In the state list, only state can make law, but central government can sponsor the state government. Central government can sponsor the state government in the state list. And right now there are 27 such schemes, 27 such CSS schemes are going on, centrally sponsored schemes. Now these schemes mainly relate to areas which are related to the state list. अभी होता क्या है, इसमें central government funding करता है, support करता है state government को. So let's say they say that there is a health scheme, and in that health scheme, National Health Mission, NHM, 75% will 75-25 का ratio होगा. 75% कौन देगा? Central government देगा, and 25% will be given by the state government, and this is called centrally sponsored. Central government sponsor कर रहा है, they will pay majority of fund, but the state government will also have to pay 25%, and central government implement नहीं करेगा, implement state government करेगा. And this is the area of state list, remember. Now the problem here is that the central government always complains that state government are not doing their work properly. वो अच्छा काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are giving you money and you're not doing that work. So this article discusses the same thing, and it says that the centrally sponsored scheme should be less, and few areas. ये COVID-19 में ज़्यादा देखने को मिला. In COVID-19, remember, if I talk about education, so education is a state subject, concurrent list में है, यानी दोनों central government and state government can make law. But health is a state subject. And if you try to look, just try and understand, just go little in the history in the past 4-5 months, who are implementing the health schemes? Who is handling the COVID-19? It is the state government which is handling the COVID-19. Central government कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा है. Central government handle नहीं कर रहा है. Central government is giving directions. Central government is giving fund. Central government is doing R&D. Central government is giving inputs. Central government का अपना team है. आप ये करो, आप ये मत करो, आप ये करो. Okay, use this test kit. Test kit चाहिए ले लो. PP kit ले लो हमसे. Mask चाहिए ले लो हमसे. Funding ले लो. Directions. Health minister is coming every day telling the state government. Ministry of Home Affairs people are coming every day telling the state government. Disaster management जो law है वो state government को power नहीं है, central government को power है. तो वो बता रहे हैं ये करना है, ये करना है. Unlockdown 4 is going on. Who is giving direction? Central government. But state government will finally take the call. Ground पे उन्हीं को काम करना है. So some experts are saying that the health में अच्छा काम नहीं किया है state government ने. Some states have done okay. Other states or other states have not done so well. So it is important that other states should also do well. So here central government should have more power. और इसके लिए हमको health को हमको concurrent list में डाल देना चाहिए. If it is in concurrent list, which means central government can also make a law and state government can also make a law. So this is what talks about the power, problems and potential of federalism. And if federal system में जो powers हैं, जो divided हैं, उसमें there are still it needs a revisit. We need to revisit. We have to enhance the advantage of federalism, and for that the areas which are in state government, they can be improved if central government has more say in the working on ground. So that is the concept of the federalism that we are discussing. Okay, so let's read the article and that will give you more clarity before going inside. So there's an argument for the need to re-examine distribution of power under the 7th schedule as to rationalize the centrally sponsored schemes. Under a centrally sponsored scheme, centers extend support to the sectors pertaining to the state list. Spending by the state government on a subject like health and need for state to contribute in union subject like defense is considered. ठीक है, यानी ये बोला जा रहा है कि हेल्थ को हमको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को कैसे और हेल्प करना चाहिए वो बताना चाहिए, एंड हाउ कैन अ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कैन हेल्प द डिफेंस लाइक अप्रोच कैन आल्सो बी डिस्कस्ड. So overall, if you read the article, this article is saying that how do we bring more clarity in terms of these lists, and for that there's a debate that federal organization का जो power है, जो central government का power है, they should be revisited, reframed. Centrally sponsored scheme must continue, but they should be restructured. उनको कम करना चाहिए. There's a need to appropriate forum to discuss the complex and contentious issues of reviewing federal organization and of power and restructuring of central transfers. यानी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट क्या करता है, अब मैं आपको एक और चीज बताऊं, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, who is more powerful? Central government is more powerful. In which area? In all the areas, and especially finance areas, which means state government has no power. I'll take another example. 17% of GDP is the tax collection of India. यानी अगर इंडिया का जो पूरा नेशनल इनकम है और द टोटल इंडिया का जो इकोनॉमी है वो उसका 17% गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के पास टैक्स में आता है, एंड 12% ऑफ दिस goes to the central government and 5% to the state government, which means state government has less power. अभी जो 12% आता है, out of this 12%, the central government will have to transfer 42% to the state government. उसके अलावा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट विल हैव टू गिव एड टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. तो इतना सारा, तो ये फिर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को पैसा यहां से मिलता है 5%, और ये जो पैसा 12%, इसका भी पैसा स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को मिलता है. बट रिमेंबर, इन द ऑल द प्रोसेस स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. ओके, एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑलवेज कंप्लेन दैट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट has more power in tax collection. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट वही करता है जो उसको ठीक लगता है. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट डूइंग. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उल्टा ये कहता है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को कि यू शुड ट्राई टू इंश्योर दैट योर रेवेन्यू गोज अप थ्रू टैक्स कलेक्शन. अपना बिजनेस को इंप्रूव करो, अपना स्टेट में बिजनेस कैसे बढ़ाओ उस पर काम करो. दैट शुड बी द ऑब्जेक्टिव. वी हैव गिवन यू पावर बट यू आर नॉट डूइंग दैट. So these are the problems between the central and the state government. One is financial power, the other power could be like executive power, legislation power. ये सारा power का रहता है. तो ये कैसे resolve करेंगे? So this article talks about that we need to review this power relations, and one of the here example is here is that health should be given to concurrent. हमको concurrent में भेज देना चाहिए. The second is एक high level group था 15 finance commission का, उनका कहना था कि health should move from state to the concurrent list. Similarly, there's Ashok Chawla committee who said कि water को भी हमको, अभी water क्या है? Water is a state subject. Now there's a problem. Water means जो river, मान लो ये river है और river का water flow कर रहा है. Now the law to control the water is under the state government. ये state subject है. Problem है. So here there's a recommendation that why don't we move it from the central government, state government to the central government. Okay. So these are the recommendations this article is talking about. Yes, union government and central government is same, Santosh. Okay, so you can read this article. So right now there are problems, and that has to be resolved between central and the state government. And we also have to ensure that the state government should not develop a feeling of sub-nationalism. Sub-nationalism means that they should, when they have a problem with central government, they criticize the state government. When they have a problem with the central government, they criticize the central government, and many times they make laws which is not good for India, or they follow approach which is not good for the unity of India. So that has to be addressed, and that is the way forward. Okay, so this is the concept of power of federalism. Okay, so we need this ongoing frictions has to be reduced through consensus building, and dialogue bhi hona chahiye, deliberation hona chahiye. Okay, centers must expand its role beyond the interstate externalities, address the challenge of security and sustainability. One viewpoint is that central government को ज़्यादा power होना चाहिए, state government's power कम होना चाहिए. But will state government agree to that? I don't think so. there is a feeling that areas like water, agriculture, biodiversity, pollution, climate change, here central government should have more say. इसमें जो water है, agriculture है, ये state subject है. Okay, so here state government should have less say and central government should have more say. So that is the concept that we discussed just now. Prithvi, liquor tax is already under the state government, so that is not going to change. Okay, in fact, government of India wanted to bring liquor tax to the you can say to the GST, but it was refused. So that is the concept of federalism. ये article clear हुआ आपको? आप देख लेना, इसको पढ़ लेना. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. It's little technical, some technical words are there, but I think I've told you the entire thing in a nutshell. Now, supplementary grant. Now, Parliament is going on right now, and there are issues like supplementary grant is discussed. Supplementary grant क्या है समझते हैं? Try and understand. So, we have Parliament of India which make laws, and in this law, one of the important law is external financial control. So who controls the finance? The Parliament of India. कैसे करता है? One is of course budget. So we have an annual budget which is passed in February. 1st February को pass होता है. This annual budget will decide how the finances of the country will be spent, that is expenditure, and how the revenues will be raised, that is receipts or income. ठीक है? यानी बजट ये बताता है कि हमको खर्च कैसे करना है और रिसीव कैसे करना है. And remember, there is one more thing. As per the parliamentary law, there are Article 112. There are other provisions also in the Indian Constitution. It says that every penny, har paisa, even a single paisa, it cannot be spent by the government of India without approval of the parliament. यानी parliament जब approve करेगा तभी money spending should be done. So let's say approval is done for expenditure. Approval कर लिया गया. And after the approval, then what happens? That money, जो money चाहिए होता है वो कम पड़ गया. Then in that situation, supplementary grants का provision है, which means that within the financial year, when the money that is being expected, that ये money इतना money मिलना चाहिए वो नहीं आता है, the expenditure नहीं meet हो पाएगा आगे का. So we have a concept of supplementary grant under which you can say that the parliament will again allow to spend the government through supplementary process. Okay, so article provides that these are additional grants is required to meet the expenditure of the government. The demand is presented and authorized amount are insufficient and need for additional expenditure as a reason. यानी जो पैसा था, जो demand था पैसे का, that has less. Now Parliament of India should allow through law so that government of India can spend more. तो इसके लिए supplementary demand of grant कर दिया था, which means the demand for extra money is given by the Parliament of India. Okay, so that is the concept. So recently supplementary grant was passed few days ago, just 2 days ago. Okay, so when actual expenditure exceeds the approved grant, जितना approval मिला उससे expenditure बढ़ गया, then Parliament, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Railways demands the excess grant. It is needed for government expenditure over and above the amount which parliamentary approval has already obtained. जितना parliamentary approval हो गया उसके बाद अगर और पैसा चाहिए होगा, then supplementary grant has to be passed. So these grants are presented and passed by Parliament before the end of each financial year. Okay, so when the grant authorized by the Parliament falls short of the required expenditure, estimate is presented before the Parliament for supplementary or additional grant. तो जो भी पैसा grant का चाहिए होता है extra, that will come from here. Okay, clear हुआ? This is clear to everybody? Any confusion? This clear to everybody? Okay, good. This you'll study in part 5 of Indian Constitution. Part 5 of Indian Constitution, that is Parliament of India. अभी कोमल मैम आप लोगों को लेंगी आगे करके. But if you have any doubt, you can ask me as well. Okay. So there are multiple type of grant, excess grant, additional grant, token grant. अगर ये समझ में ना आया तो मत पढ़ना, because you'll be studying this in polity in detail. आप लक्ष्मीकांत में पढ़ोगे, there are definition is given. Try to understand the concept, that's all. That is more important. Now there's again an important law, again related to Parliament of India. Now you all know that Parliament क्या करता है? Parliament makes laws. Makes laws for whom? For whole India. Which means Parliament is a busy body. It is burdened with work. Because in Parliament, basically the MPs, they debate, the Government of India presents the bill, and the laws are made. Many a time what happens, that it becomes difficult for Parliament to make laws because the burden is very high. So in order to reduce the burden, Parliament has come with a concept of committee. And these committees are basically parliamentary standing committees are there. Standing committees are there. There are some ad hoc, means short time. ये permanent committee होती हैं. There are some ad hoc, means temporary committees can be there. So Parliament has a committee system which will take a burden of the law making from the Parliament of India, which means that whenever Parliament has to pass a law, it can send the bill. No, bill जो है बाद में law बन जाता है. Bill becomes a law when it is passed by both Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, and the President signs it, which means President of India assent देता है तो. Okay. Now, when Parliament wants to pass the bill, the debate, discussion happens, but many times Parliament पास time नहीं होता है. Time is less. So what Parliament does that it sends the bill to the committee. And committee consists of MPs only. MPs and there is a technical body. वो पूरा MPs को help करता है. And these committee का जो भी bill Parliament ने pass किया committee को, they will scrutiny the law. Okay, they will scrutiny the law. They will approve it. They will approve. जो भी doubts होता है उन पर study करते हैं. And then again they will scrutinize. They will make suggestions also. And then it will come to Parliament of again. And then Parliament can again discuss and pass the law, which means committees are there to aid and assist the parliamentary process. Committees are there to reduce the load on the Parliament, because in a normal situation, the Parliament does not have the power, does not have the time to pass any law, that we are, seeing on a day-to-day basis. So that is the concept of so departmental committees का भी वही काम होता है, and that departmental committees are supposed to, supposed to help the government. अभी जो committees होती हैं, mostly committees are MPs become part of the committee, and these ये committee का जो tenure होता है 1 year का होता है, which means every 1 year the members will change. अभी ये debate क्यों आ रहा है? Venkaiah Naidu, who is the chairman of the Raj Sabha and he is the vice president also, he wants to amend the rule and he said that why don't we have a fixed tenure? हम 2 साल का member tenure कर देते हैं, ये जो committee के members होते हैं. So that is why this debate has again. So thinking the tenure of reconstitution of departmental committees. According to the Raj Sabha rules, the term of office of members of the committee shall not exceed 1 year. Thus, it is a term of office of members and not that of committee. Committee का नहीं, जो members हैं, हर साल committee fix रहेगी. Committee will not change. Committee will go in perpetuity, especially the standing committees, the departmental committees. जो temporary committee है, वो तो when the work is done, the committee will be over. But other committees are always there. But every year the member of the committee changes. Why? Let's say I am the member of parliament. So I become a member of one of the committee. But मेरा period 1 year. After 1 year, I will not be the committee member. Okay, or I will be reappointed. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. Okay, so tenure has to be looked at the backdrop of the fact that Raj Sabha itself goes to partial biennial renewal. यानी हर वेंकैया नायडू कहना है कि why don't we have 2-year tenure? But there's a problem. Raj Sabha has a tenure of 6 years. And Lok Sabha has a tenure of 5 years. Now both people are there. तो अगर ये 2 year कर दिया मान लो इनका, but 2 year हो ही नहीं पाएगा. Many times before 2 year your membership or the election might happen and you might lose the election. That is why 1 year का fix रखते हैं, because 1 year में change होता रहेगा. So the article discusses that why don't we have 1 year for Raj Sabha, Lok Sabha people and 2 year for Rajya Sabha people. Because how does Rajya Sabha operate? In Rajya Sabha, जो 1/3 member है, they retire every 2 year. Okay, so Lok Sabha has a fixed tenure of 5 year unless dissolved, and Rajya Sabha has a tenure of 6 years. और हर 2 साल पे 1/3 member retire. In the case of Lok Sabha, major reconstitution takes place when a new Lok Sabha is elected. जब भी चेंज होता है, normally you get elected for 1 year, फिर आपका मेंबर आपका 1 साल खत्म हुआ, फिर एक साल और बढ़ जाता है, ऐसे चलता रहता है. But when the general elections happen, the whole committee is reshuffled, पूरा reshuffling होता है और members सारे चेंज होते हैं. But राज्यसभा में ऐसा नहीं है, राज्यसभा के members fix होते हैं. So this article वही discuss कर रहा है कि why don't we have 2 year for Rajya Sabha and 1 year for Lok Sabha? Because for Lok Sabha 2 years is something which is difficult. Okay, so that is what it says. So there are 224 department standing committees each with 31 members, 10 from Rajya Sabha, 21 from Lok Sabha, which can accommodate 240 members. Once a member is nominated to committee, he should be allowed to continue until he retires. Otherwise, discontinue the membership in order to the committee is able to benefit from other people. Okay, so वो ये कह रहा है कि हमको different rule बनाना चाहिए राज्यसभा and लोकसभा के लिए. Okay, and you can read that. I hope you'll be able to understand this. Is it clear to everybody? Should I move to the next topic? While making change to the rules of the chairman, the speaker should consider different tenure for a member of 2 houses on the departmental related issues. Okay, so that is there. Now there is one more scheme, MP Lad. Should I continue? Should I give you a break for a 2 minute? Is that okay? Should I give you a break for 2 minutes or should I continue? Tell me. Heavy तो नहीं हो रहा, right? Okay, good. Okay, fair enough. Okay, good. Now there is a concept of MP Lad. What is MP Lad? MP Lad का full form है Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. As per this scheme, every MP get 5 crore rupees for development in the local area. So Member of Parliament कैसे होता है? How does MP Lad work? Member of Parliament recommend works based on local needs of his constituency. So Member of Parliament will say to DM, District Magistrate से कहेगा, okay, that you do this work. For example, make this small road. Okay, give this money to for school development, some public school for development के लिए दे दो. Or give this money for water supply. Okay, or electricity electricity का कोई area काम आ गया. So here DM will sanction eligible work and select the agency responsible implement करेंगे and they will update. Okay, and if you want to know what are the work done, you can also file a RTI. Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation will formulate the policy, releases 5 crore annually in installments or 2.5 crore directly to district authority, establish the monitoring mechanism. So ये पूरा MP Lad है. The whole MP Lad concept here that MP can spend 5 crore every year. That means for 5 years they can spend 25 crore rupees of their choice in the area they want, and that is how MPs can also decide if they want to do development. But this amount is less, remember. Okay. Now what has happened during COVID-19? What Mr. Modi said that MP Lad scheme is suspended till next 2 years. And why? Because government said that since money will be a challenge, revenue will be a challenge, COVID-19 economy will be down, so we have to suspend this. And after the COVID-19 scenario is controlled, then we can renew the MP Lad. But for next 1.5 years, for the next 2 cycles, the MP Lad fund will be suspended, and this will lead to the saving of around 3,900 crore rupees. Okay, so this money can be saved because this money not saved, but this money will not be released to the MPs. कई बार ऐसा होता है MP Lad में there is a corruption also. There is a case of corruption also. For example, I am a member of parliament and I say, okay, give this money to the small road, and I say to the contractor that money will be released to you, but give me 30% of the money. जब money आपको आएगा आप मुझे 30% दे देना, then only I'll give you that money for development. So such kind of corruption is also there, which happens for the MP lad. Similarly, at the state level, many states have MLA lad fund, which normally is around 2 crore rupees. Okay, so so Modi government said two things: the MP lad will be suspended for 2 years, and also the salaries of the member of parliament will be cut by 30%. 30% आपका salary cut हो जाएगा. Okay. While extending support to move for salary cut, most members have demanded that MP lad funds meant for development work should be restored immediately. Okay. MP lad is a program first launched in 1993, and it aims at providing funds for development works recommended by individual member of parliament. The MPs were entitled for 1 crore in this period, 2 crore, and then it is 5 crore from 11-12. Okay. To implement, what is the objective? To implement their plan in the area. जैसे मान लो मुझे रोड बनवाना है. Normally, road development is a part of the central government or state government. At district level, we have district roads are there. So district roads are made by the PWD, or the state government. So I have really no say there. I can just urge. I can, sign letters. I can, urge the state government. I can meet the DM. I can meet the officials. I can pressurize them. But I don't have a real power to do development, because my work is not to do development. I am a law-making person. I will sit in the Parliament of India. I will, help in making laws for the country. But I don't have any other power. I'm a member of parliament. I cannot implement the policies on ground. The implementation will be done by the ministers. The implementation will be done by the, not only the ministers, but the district magistrate, the authorities. So they have more power in real sense. And the MPs always complained that they don't have power of funding. And this power of funding can be, done only if MPs get the power to have the funds. So easily MP lad fund came in the, in the beginning, and the objective was to address the lacuna. But this amount is very less, remember, because 5 crore is nothing. District authorities then identify the implementing agencies, MP lad fund can be merged with other schemes like Manrega and Khelo India. So this is the MP lad fund. And right now the guidelines are published. The money can be spent in the areas of drinking water, primary education, public health, sanitation. Okay, all that can be there. Okay, so one more thing, one thing I want to speak to the students who, some students called me and they could not reach out to me. I think I got a call from Romi Mishra one day, but later on I missed the call. I mentioned in my diary. So Romi, you can speak to me. You can fix a time with me, and I can speak to you regarding your preparation plan. And same is true with Rohitash also. So Rohitash, right? Rohitash, you can also speak to me better. You can speak to me for the whatever problems you're facing in the studies. You can discuss your study plan. And so anybody who have such things. And one more thing, on Wednesday, remember, on Wednesday there'll be a doubt session. The link will be sent to you, doubt session. And this doubt session will be at 5:30. Remember, 5:30 to 6:20 or 6:10, like that. So 45-minute doubt session will be there. So if you have any doubt, you can put all the doubts and you can come in the session. Only people who have doubt, they can come in the session, and I'll take the doubts also. Okay, so we'll have 2 sessions only for doubts thing. Yes, Gar, you can also speak to me. Okay, you can take my number from the team and speak to me. Okay, so this is the whole concept of MP lad. So this MP lad must be clear to you. Okay. Now this is the news of Queen Council. Nothing much here. Queen Council, India suggested Pakistan appointing Queen Council in the Kulbhushan Jadhav case. So what is the Queen Council? Queen Council matlab lawyer of the Queen, Her Majesty's Council learned in the law. Okay, so Queen's Council is office conferred by Crown. Crown matlab, I'm talking about UK, because the Queen of England is basically, she is also the head of the Commonwealth nations. Commonwealth nation, all the Commonwealth nation, which means India is also a Commonwealth nation. But remember, India has refused to be except to the king, because India says no, we will not be under Queen, rather we will have our own president of India. But many countries, like who are the part of, for example, Australia, for Australia also the Queen is their head of the state. Okay, you getting what I'm saying? So that concept is being followed. That these ये सिर्फ एक nominal sorry. So this so Queen of England is basically nothing but it's a conferred by Crown, that is recognized by court, and Senior Advocate Harish Salve earlier this year has been appointed the Queen's Counsel. तो उनका ये कहना है कि क्वीन काउंसिल को हम इनका ये दे देते हैं केस, this Kulbhushan Jadhav, so that the free and fair trial can be there regarding their case. Okay, so because we have a doubt that Pakistan will, you know, take advantage of the situation. Okay, so that is one thing. Then we have another topic called Swami Investment Fund. Now remember, real estate is facing huge challenges in India, and real estate was facing challenges because of government brought a lot of rules, and one rule was that they brought a law called RERA, the Real Estate Regulation Act, and also they made you know, they plugged all the loopholes. इससे क्या हुआ, जो black money real estate में जा रहा था, black money which was going in the real estate, that kind of stopped. So real estate people are facing a lot of problems, and very big companies are not able to do that. Mostly real estate में होता कैसा था, you book a project, you book a flat, let's say, and you pay money, and the bank, you take a loan from the bank and you start paying EMI. The builder says, okay, your project has already started, and after 3 years the flat will be ready. Okay, and you can, so bank is charging EMI from you every day. Now the bank will pay the money to the builder, okay, and the builder will make the flat. But many times what builders did, they started multiple projects. Many times the builders, they diverted the money in other areas. Then what happened? Government strong regulation came here. And moment government strong regulation came in, this whole concept of diversion of multiple projects led to a problem where builder could not finish the project. So that led to a situation where there were a lot of unfinished projects. Then there were other problems like environmental, you know, laws were changed. Builders were misusing the law, so that can also, you know, ensure that the laws are followed properly. This led to many builders, they could not deliver the flat, and the money which they had taken from the bank, that money also finished. Now these projects, now you are a person who have booked a flat, आपने flat खरीदने के लिए loan लिया हुआ है, you are still paying EMI, but your flat is still incomplete. You're not able to go in your flat. Then when this whole problem was happening, some good builders, they were able to survive, but small builders who did fraudulent, you know, mechanism, you know, they could not survive. And but the problem happened with the people like you and me who have taken flat, but we cannot pay for the, you know, money for the flat. So ये जो situation है, that has arisen, and that, you know, many, also the demand for housing came down, and this demand for housing came down after in 2016 demonetization came, because जो black money circulation में था economy में, वो भी down हो गया. So the demand came down, so big, you know, projects, you know, kind of suffered. And there are still cases, if you go in Delhi NCR, the flats are very, you know, cheaply available. The flats which are costing 50 lakh rupees, you know, 5 years ago, today they are costing 35 lakh rupees, 30 lakh rupees. So you can imagine people who have purchased 50 lakh rupees, वो EMI 50 lakh का दे रहे हैं, but that flat is right now 35 lakh rupees. So you can understand how, you know, they are feeling. And also there are a lot of unfinished projects which are already stalled there. So Government of India, you know, want to ensure a new relief to home buyers or stalled project जो अभी 90% बने हुए हैं, 10% बचे हुए हैं. Okay, a special window for completion of affordable and mid-income housing, Swami Investment Fund, that has been created for funding stalled project. Okay, it's an investment fund, an alternative investment fund which will aim to provide last mile funding for stressed, affordable and middle income housing projects in the country. It is expected to fund the project whose net worth is positive, including projects that are declared NPA or are pending proceeding before National Company Law Tribunal under IBC. IBC मतलब Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. तो ये investment fund है which will help the stalled project in the country right now. Okay, so up till here I hope everything is clear to you. Several real estate projects have suffered due to combined effect of two changes. On one hand, incremental launches, slow sales, while, you know, they got compounded by the fact that consumer preference not towards, अभी आपको flat लेना है तो आप नया flat, आप किसी project में हाथ नहीं डालोगे, आप कहोगे I want a new flat. If the flat is ready, then I'll pay. Then I'll take the loan from the, you know, bank. I will not take a loan in between and I will wait for 5 years. That will not happen. Okay. So this preference are developed as consumers are largely avoiding taking project completion risk, instead of more inclined toward completed project. तो इससे क्या हो रहा है? The demand for, you know, the demand for housing has also suffered. and the many projects which are stalled. And why they're stalled? And they are stalled mainly because the builders have swindled the money, builders have diverted the money. And I'm talking about big builders like Amrapali, JP builders. Okay, so such things have happened. Okay, so Indus Water Treaty. What is Indus Water Treaty? So Indus Water Treaty is a treaty between India and Pakistan. Okay, so 60 years have passed. So September 19 this year marks the 60th anniversary of Indus Water Treaty between India and Pakistan. So this is, you can say this is Pakistan and this is India. और ये river आपका Indus आ रहा है. And Indus has 3 tributaries, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. These are eastern rivers and they goes to India. And there are western rivers, okay, Jhelum, Satluj and Jhelum, Chenab and Indus. So these are the western rivers. Now I'll tell you some good information about this. Now remember, the river has started from where? It has started from from India mostly. Indus starts from Tibet somewhere. So it starts from there and it goes to India and Pakistan. Now if you try to see, 3 rivers are completely India, 100% there in India. There are 3 rivers, the other 3 rivers, they are probably 30 to 40% in India, and then goes to 60-70% to Pakistan. Okay, so you can see the rivers are here, then it goes to this area. Now the problem, one of the problem was that how do we divide the water? इसको water कैसे divide करें? And that is how Indus Water Treaty was decided. And it said कि Eastern River पे 100% जो control होगा वो India का होगा, and Western Rivers से Pakistan का होगा. But even the Western Rivers, India will be given some water for their own irrigation purpose like that. But that will be limited. छोटा मोटा project बना सकते हो, but you cannot use like normally you use it. So this is what the problem has been there. Now the problem here is that Indus Water Treaty is a very benign treaty. Benign treaty का मतलब ये है. Let's understand that Indus Water Treaty is a water distribution treaty between India and Pakistan brokered by World Bank in Karachi in 1960. According to this agreement, control over water flowing in the eastern rivers was given to India, and control over water flowing to western rivers was given to Pakistan. The treaty allowed India to use western rivers for limited irrigation use only. यानी western rivers हम eastern तो 100% use करेंगे, but western को we will use for limited irrigation use, unrestricted use of power generation, domestic, industrial, non-consumption use करेंगे, such as navigation कर सकते हैं, floating of property कर सकते हैं, fishing कर सकते हैं, but I will not use for consumption. Consumption नहीं कर पाएंगे. Power generation कर सकते हैं, but consumption नहीं करेंगे. Okay, and precise regulation for building projects also. India has also given right to generate hydroelectricity through run-of-the-river project on the western rivers, subject to specific criteria for design and operation, unrestricted. But अगर आप देखोगे, so Indus is a big river. Jhelum and Chenab are relatively river which carry more water, which means practically Pakistan is getting more water in spite of the fact that these rivers are mainly in India. वो India से start हो रही है, India में maximum रह रही हैं, but Pakistan is getting more water. So it is said that Indus Water Treaty is one of the treaty which is very benign treaty, और ये treaty में India is losing because it is one of the first, मतलब world का एक ऐसा treaty है where the river, the place of origin जहां से river start हो रही है, उनको water नहीं मिल रहा है और उनको कम मिल रहा है rather, and the river at the lower level is getting more. इसको बोलते हैं upper riparian. Upper riparian मतलब river जहां से start हो रही है, the upper flow. So it is said that India has an advantage upper riparian, but still India is getting less water. Okay, back in the time, partitioning Indus water system was inevitable. After partition in 1947, the sharing formula devised after prolonged negotiations sliced Indus into 2 halves. Equitable it may seem, but the fact remains that India has conceded 82.50 to 80% of the water flow to the Indus system to Pakistan. यानी आज भी 80% जो water है वो पाकिस्तान को जाता है. It also gave 83 crore in pound sterling to Pakistan. ठीक है, हमने पैसा भी दिया उनको, okay, to build replacement canal for western rivers. Such generosity is unusual for an upper riparian. मतलब इंडिया के लिए वो unusual था. It considered its upper riparian position to on the western rivers for complete right on the eastern rivers. Water was critical for India's development plans. So it is said that ये treaty इतना benign नहीं होना चाहिए. Maybe मे बी नेहरू वाज द पर्सन बिहाइंड दिस ट्रीटी, या फिर जो लोग भी इसमें थे, ऐसा मानना है कि द ट्रीटी शुड दे शुड हैव टेकन एडवांटेज एंड दे शुड हैव इंश्योर्ड दैट ट्रीटी इंडिया को और मिलना चाहिए. इंडिया हैड बेटर बार्गेनिंग पावर. Okay, the treaty has remained uninterrupted because India respects its signatory and values trans-border rivers as an important connector in the region in terms of both diplomacy and economic prosperity. There have been several instances of terror attacks which could have prompted India within Vienna Convention of Law to withdraw. हम चाहे तो withdraw कर सकते हैं. हम कहें Pakistan is not listening, Pakistan is sending terrorists to India, and I say let's withdraw from Indus Water Treaty. और हम ईस्टर्न रिवर तो हमारे पास है ही है, ईस्टर्न तो हमारे पास ही आ रहा है. I can maybe use the flow of western waters also. Do you think it can be done? Definitely it can be done. Many people have also said that why don't we use this river diplomacy? Let's threaten the Pakistan. You are sending terrorists, ठीक है, I will stop the water. Okay, so why don't we use the river diplomacy? Why don't we push that? Maybe we are too soft to do that. Maybe and the more hard we are, then probably the dynamics will change. So current Modi government is maybe they have this water diplomacy also in their mind, river diplomacy also in their mind. और मुझे लगता है कि Modi government will do something in future. They have already planned many projects so that the water of the eastern rivers should not go. Even for western rivers, they have multiple projects. Okay, so let's see how things go. This treaty is often cited as an example of possibilities of peaceful coexistence that exist despite the troubled relationship. Well-wishers of the treaty often dub it as uninterrupted and uninterruptible. The World Bank, which is as a third party, has played a pivotal role, continues to take particular pride that treaty functions. So World Bank को लगता है कि काफी अच्छा treaty हमने broker किया है. But I personally feel that maybe this treaty should be used as a bargaining chip. And I think सिर्फ river का ही water आप control करने की कोशिश करो, Pakistan will fall in line, and rest of the things will be controlled. So I don't think it's a wrong approach. If you can use terrorism, if you can use bomb, you can use money laundering, if you can destabilize the country, if you can send drugs to India, then why don't we stop water? Okay, so there's nothing wrong in that, and that is my personal opinion. All the thinkers, diplomats, bureaucrats have also always cited that we should be doing that, we should be trying doing that. Okay, but there are people who feel that maybe India को ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, it is not good. Why should people of Pakistan should face? Okay, so but still Indian government is under pressure that we should if it is not about government, it is not about people, it is also about government. Yes, of course we can write treaty. Of course you can write. आप आराम से लिखो, धड़ल्ले से लिखो. That is a part of diplomacy. Don't write directly that we'll say that we can utilize more water, we can use it as a bargaining chip, river diplomacy. आप ये सब थोड़ा diplomatic word use करो ना. Don't use like we will stop water to Pakistan. Don't use word like this. Use word like we can use the river as a bargaining chip. We can utilize. We can tell them that if you want to pursue the path that you've already taken, probably it is also our time to think on different lines. Okay. So that completes this topic, Indus Water Treaty. Now there is a small news, DGBT Code of Conduct. So these are countries, remember, they have a code of conduct, and India has been added as an observer. Okay, code of conduct matlab basically this is a very important area for sea lines of communication. Okay, so DGBT Code of Conduct, Jeddah Amendment. Okay, so it consists of 18 members of Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, East Coast of Africa. और ये क्या करते? Basically they have a group for armed robbery control करना हो, piracy control करना हो, in high sea and ocean की बात हो रही है. So India has become the member of the observer of this treaty. So that will also give access to maybe have the cooperation of these countries. So that is all. You can read it. Nothing much here. Now, the China picture. Let's take this issue. So this article talks about the again this issue comes in again. So you can see this Askai Chin, 32,000. This has been occupied by China. This has Gilgit-Baltistan. It is occupied by Pakistan. This POK. So a lot of right now the problems are going on in border. अभी कहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है? यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है गलवान वैली, ओके, सैंगोंग लेक पर यहाँ पे हो रहा है. Okay, so these are the areas. Now remember, these is called LAC, line of actual control. Now these are the areas where Pakistan. Now what China is doing, China is pushing here, pushing, because ये जो पूरा LAC है, LAC as for India it is defined, but China says that no, it is not defined. So now remember, this whole area is high mountain. A very traveling is difficult. There are some routes also in between for passes where you can travel, but mostly it is a high mountain. And this Askai chain is very important for China, because it links Xinjiang and Tibet. Okay, तो वो दोनों उनका important area को link करता है, and that is why they have made a road here. Okay, they have made a road here, and this is something which they want to control. One more thing, that what India has done in the past 4-5 years, that India has made a lot of good infrastructure here. Here we have made good infrastructure. Sorry, here we are making good infrastructure. Whole here all. And the idea is to strengthen the border. Border post बनाने. हमने mountain troops बना रखा है. There's a group of army platoons which can stay in high altitude. अभी problem क्या है? In high mountains, India can fight, but that is not in the case of China. Okay, so because we are. Okay, Garv has a good question. Well, China चाहता नहीं Garv. China does not want to solve the issue. So, what are the interpretation? China ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है? The first is China. First, there are two kind of people. They say that China exercise was territorial snatch. वो कहते हैं हमारा पूरा territory है और उन्होंने पूरा ले लिया. Second is they say that territory has nothing to do with that. It is more about power. China wants to show the world that I'll power. Tomorrow I'll control the world. And this is India. If I can tell India to do this or don't do this, then I can do to any country in the world. Because अगर आप देखो India में जो countries हैं which can challenge China, who can challenge? USA can challenge. Maybe some, apart from USA, nobody can challenge. Maybe Russia to an extent. Maybe developed countries like France or Germany, or you can say UK, Britain. But again, they are very small countries. So if they can arm twist India, if they can tell India what India should do or what India cannot do, then certainly that is true for तो China अगर India को दबाएगा और world को दिखाएगा, so nobody will dare do anything against China. So that is it. So this article talks about what China will be. By 2030, China will be the biggest power. And China is doing everything. China will not accept to the world diplomacy. It will not listen to anything. There is no concept of right. China will control in finance, trade, business, diplomacy, arms, nuclear. सब कुछ control करेगा China in future. Okay. So what can we do? This article talks about that India should have a new approach. India should have a new approach towards China. India should start discussing that what we can do. We need to have a debate. We need to understand, and hence we need to have a debate and have a plan of action. Okay, this approach where China is going to disturb us again and again, वो होता रहेगा. तो अभी हमें क्या चाहिए? What personally I feel that only way is to strengthen India, only way is to stabilize India, only way is to develop India, only way is to ensure that average Indians' income grows, common income grows, and that will strengthen the country, R&D, military, everything. And that is the only way future, only way in the future. अगर हम China से fight नहीं कर सकते, but we can make ourselves stronger, because strength respects strength, not weakness. So the stronger we are, the China ये problem अपने आप resolve हो जाएगा. और गर्व जहां तक आपका question है कि why don't we solve this issue? Well, China does not want to solve the issue because China हमेशा इस border issue को retain करना चाहता है, and they want to kind of use it as a bargaining chip. उनको लगता है कि अगर हम issue resolve नहीं होगा तो हमको जब भी इंडिया को arm twist करना होगा तो हम arm twist करेंगे. Okay, so this is the problem, and we need to have a debate on this. So that completes these topics. National Hypsonic Heritage Month, you can read it. These are some basic current affair. Solar cycle. Solar cycle एक होता है inside the ocean, sorry, inside the sun, and this cycle moves every year for 25 years. So unlike the season on Earth, the sun follows an 11-year cycle, and the activities fluctuate between solar minima and maxima. और इसमें क्या होता है? In the whole period, the sunspots are developed, and when the sunspots are developed, the lot of energy, lot of solar waves, they come out of that. Sunspots are small and dark, yet cooler areas formed on the solar surface area with a strong magnetic force. So ये solar cycle है, and solar cycles when they active, when the sun is active, there are more sunspots, and it has 11-year cycle. Okay, but इससे होता क्या है? This creates it creates a lot of यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है. Okay, it creates solar storms, flares, solar energetic particles, high speed solar wind. Okay, और ये जब होते हैं तो it can impact our GPS signal, radio and satellite communication, okay, flight operation, power grid, space exploration, वो सारा impact होता है. And hence we have to track the solar cycle, we have to understand how solar cycle moves, and based on that we also need to understand हमारा जो systems है उसको कैसे हम manage करें. That is the objective. Okay, so they also they are also impose danger to space weather. Okay, for example, if something is traveling at 500 km per second, it can get impacted in the solar peaks. Okay, so this is all the solar cycle all about. You can read it, you can understand it. Nothing, it's quite basic. People who have read geography, have understood geography, basic पढ़ा हुआ है तो आपको ज़्यादा अच्छे समझ में आएगा. But I think it's quite basic. You can read it. So this completes solar cycle. Okay. Now, so there are one or two more topics, then we'll close for the day. India must reject inequitable climate proposal. अभी UN Secretary General ने कहा है कि India should give up coal because coal से क्या होता है? Pollution होता है. The coal causes pollution. Coal causes greenhouse gases emission. So there are pollution, there are greenhouse gases emission which happens, and when these greenhouse gases emission happens, it will lead to climate change. Okay, so what is happening? It is saying that it is causing deoxygenation, it is causing ocean warming, it is causing stratification, it is causing eutrophication. Eutrophication में क्या होता है? जो water bodies होती हैं उसमें oxygen कम हो जाता है, and oxygen कम हो जाता है तो plant or marine life they die. Okay, so one way is to control the greenhouse gases. तो UN Secretary General कहना है कि आप coal give up कर दो. Now that is impossible for India because India, the power generation of India, even today, 80% of the power generation comes from the coal and the other sources, the fossil fuel, and hardly 20% is coming from the wind and solar. And this 80%, अगर कितना भी change होता है, it will always remain 80% or maybe 75%, which means because we have huge demand that we might see in the future. But UN bodies are saying that if India goes on the same path, it will generate a lot of pollution, and that is not good because the Earth's temperature, if it rises by 2 degrees, यानी Earth का temperature 2 degrees Celsius से बढ़ जाएगा, then it will complicate climate action. It will have irreversible damage. India कहता है कि why us? अभी हम तो development हमने start किया है. What about USA? What about European nation? Because they started, using coal in 1750s, 1760s. हमने तो 1950 से start किया है. We start generating pollution from here, and these people have been generating since then till now. हमारा जो annual emission it is 5 ton per capita. Global average 1.3. Countries like USA they have 3 to 4 ton per capita. आप इनको बोलो कम करने को, हमें क्यों कह रहे हो कम करने को? Now what USA is saying that India is a big country, big producer, it will have it will generate more pollution. We are saying when you were developing your country, you did it at the cost of pollution. You did it at the cost of climate change. आज who is facing the brunt of climate change? हम लोग face कर रहे हैं. आपसे कहा जा रहा है कि आप fund provide करो, give us technical support, and you're not ready to do that. You say no. Why should we do that? So even today, 75% global warming is because of the developed countries. But today, developed countries, instead of funding, instead of giving some kind of support, what they are doing, they are passing the buck on us. वो हमारे ऊपर pass कर रहे हैं. वो कह रहे हैं कि आप करो, you take a call, आप अपना funding बढ़ाओ. you reduce the you focus on clean energy. Now what is this? So this is what India is questioning. India is saying that developed countries, especially USA, they themselves are not doing anything. They are living a very energy intensive, costly lifestyle. They are generating more pollution, and we are facing the brunt. The world is facing the brunt. So it is a collective effort. And remember, you can't tell us to reduce our coal. हम coal नहीं कम करेंगे, हम अभी 50 years तक कम नहीं करेंगे. Yes, we are working to reduce the coal. We are working on a solar mission. We are working to increase the solar generation plant, solar generation capacity. But we have to develop ourselves, and eventually the coal usage will come down. But we will also do development, because development is priority, not the environment at this point of time. The onus is on you first, then on us. Okay. So while talking about the phasing out the coal, the global north has obscured the reality of its continued dependence on oil and natural gas. It is amply clear that commitment into the future set on the world a path of almost 3-degree global warming, and environmentalists in developed countries unable to summon up the domestic political support have turned up the pressure on developing countries. जैसे Mr. Trump है, you know what Trump says? That global warming is myth. Can you believe that? उनको लगता है global warming myth है, मजाक हो रहा है. Why? Because if global warming, if he accepts that, he has to fund. He has to fund in the Paris climate change, जो agreement हुआ था. And USA is the first country जिन्होंने पीछे हाथ ले लिया. And they have most money, they have technology also, but they are not ready to help. And this is the problem. So West is not ready to commit, and that is a problem. And hence India तो already बहुत कुछ कर रहा है. हम अपना clean energy project को बढ़ा रहे हैं. But coal is something that we can't compromise. We have to use coal for at least coming few decades, and then only eventually the coal is going to be less. Okay, so that is the way forward. Only time will tell how all these dynamics will change. But I think India is partly correct, and India should reject the Secretary General call and reiterate to long-standing community equitable response. India कहता है that should be common and differentiated responsibilities. ठीक है, हमारा कॉमन है, बट हमारा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कम है, आपका ज्यादा है. Let's talk about history. Let's talk about 19th century. Let's talk about 20th century. When industrial revolution was happening in USA, when industrial revolution was happening in England, when industrial revolution was happening in Germany, there you misused coal, you ensured pollution is generating. Now when it is our time to develop, now you're telling us the moral lessons. और आप भी तो कम नहीं कर रहे हो, आप भी तो coal use कर रहे हो. Okay, so these are the problems which are there. ठीक है, एक माउंट एवरेस्ट पे आर्टिकल है कि माउंट एवरेस्ट का हाइट they are going to rescale, reread it. Just read it, nothing much here. And these are some small news, you can read them. This is a Kalinga frog found in eastern. Okay, blue flag certification. Blue flag certification will be given to the beaches which are blue. Okay, so you can read it, nothing much here. Okay, so that complete. There's some question in the end, guys. You can attempt some questions. MP LAD, federal, Indus Water Treaty. GST Council थोड़ा technical है. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask me. I think some students had questions. They had messaged me. One question was from Binish. You had some question, right? And Mayank, you also had some question. You can ask me if you want to. आपका कुछ सवाल था बेटा? I remember you messaged me some question regarding GST Council. I think one was okay. Okay, Devashish का question है, what is the difference in bill and ordinance? Ordinance is equal to law, but only for 6 months, because this ordinance has to pass like bill to become a law now. जब बिल को हम पास करते तो लॉ बन जाता है, बट when parliament, law कहां पास होगा? Law will be passed in the parliament. Till the time, let's say parliament बैठा नहीं है, parliament is not sitting, so how can government can make a law? They can't make a law. So in that situation they have a temporary provision of using ordinance. Ordinance को law की तरह use करेंगे till the time parliament comes back in session. ठीक है, तो ordinance एक law ही है till the time parliament comes in. But moment parliament comes in, within 6 months sorry, within 6 weeks, the ordinance will lapse. ये खत्म हो जाएगा. इस 6 वीक में क्या करना पड़ेगा? Government will bring a bill which will be passed and then that will become a law. ठीक है? तो ऑर्डिनेंस का जो लाइफ है मैक्सिमम वो 6 month plus 6 week है. और why 6 month? Because the 2 sessions, जो पार्लियामेंट के 2 सेशन होते हैं, the maximum can be 6 month. उनके बीच का मैक्सिमम डिफरेंस 6 month हो सकता है. और उसके बाद जब पार्लियामेंट मीट करेगा, within 6 week the ordinance should become a law, and for that a bill has to be passed which will replace the ordinance. Okay, Devashish, I hope that is clear to you. Okay, clear. Okay, chalo, good. Okay, so Kiran has a question. Protesters are worried by MSP. But MSP is a different system. Opposition is just confusing the people. Okay. Okay, so there's nothing much here. Now, Mayank has a question. Please tell a little bit about integrated farming system. Mayank, integrated farming system is a mechanism which basically a mechanism which is basically developed in US, European countries, where they are using methods so that the wastage can be reduced, better technology can be used for output. Okay, yield can be increased. Okay, it's like जैसे हम इंडिया में ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग करते हैं ना, तो वैसे ही है इंटीग्रेट फार्मिंग सिस्टम इज देयर. Okay, how can you minimize the impact of negative impact of agriculture environment? Okay, all that thing is there. If you want speak थोड़ा R&D कर लो बेटा. Integrated farming system is a very common topic on in the news. You can get that. A blue flag certification, 7 beaches are named. There are, but it is mentioned there are 8. एक सेकंड, कौन सा लिस्ट है बेटा? Okay, so how many there are in India? 8 beaches recommended for coveted international eco label. चेक करना पड़ेगा एक बार लिस्ट. Okay, I think list is missing one point. I'll ask my content team to check that. संतोष का एक सवाल है, is GST and demonetization a success or failure in India? Well, there is no common. Personally, if you ask me, I think demonetization was more failure than success. But GST is an evolving process. I would not say GST is a failure, but it's an evolving process. Okay. Yes, supplementary grant के लिए parliamentary approval चाहिए होता है दीपिका. Hate speech, यशस्वी हो hate speech. हाँ, मतलब आपको पता होना चाहिए what is hate speech, what is the concept of hate speech. IBC Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2020. देखना पड़ेगा बेटा. अभी तो IBC का उसमें कुछ amendments होंगे, चेक करना पड़ेगा क्या amendment है. IBC I'm going to cover economics in detail. ठीक है, अगर हम बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ेंगे तो ये बिल अगर न्यूज में आएगा तो देख लेंगे. I'll check it. मुझे प्रोविजंस याद नहीं है, अभी देखना पड़ेगा मुझे. But I'll explain you, don't worry. Insolvency and bankruptcy is a very common concept. You will be able to understand them very easily. बैंकिंग में बहुत डिटेल में हम लोग करेंगे इस टॉपिक. Okay, chalo. So that is all guys for today. Any more questions? Should I close for the day?